G'day, Nick Da Vinci 999 here, Byron Bay, Australia. How's this? Last week, after I made that last video on wellness, extreme wellness tourism with hydrogen, we had a cyclone that hit the east side of Australia, and we're the most easterly point, but all the way up to Queensland, 1,000 kilometres. This cyclone came in and 4 days sat outside the coast and then just hammered us. But here in Byron, there's a little bit of debris around, there's lots of trees, power went out for a while. We were, thank God, very, very safe. A lot of our area didn't flood this time. 2022, I think we had floods that were pretty devastating. But at Queensland, which is where the Olympics are in 2032, they're actually experiencing a lot of floods and that stuff happened, and there's a lot of emergency resources that are being disseminated and helping people out, and it wasn't as devastating as the predictions as it was coming in. It sort of fizzled out a little bit as it hit the land, but I mean, it ate a lot of the coastline. There's 6-10 foot drops where it's eaten the sand up to where the trees are for hundreds of kilometers. And so hopefully the ocean will give us that sand back as it does. But it was an experience. And so whilst I want to bring some interesting facts about hydrogen, I have to say that blessings to our communities up and down the Australian East Coast. I hope you all have survived that crazy incident. And as we rebuild what was damaged, we can build better versions of things. So, talking about building better versions of things, as we have discussed, this is part 2 of Extreme Wellness Travel with Hydrogen. Now, the first video was received really well. I had a lot of questions that came back saying, well, how do we do it? What's the simplest way to do it? And I say, well, if you're in the travel industry and you want to transform your accommodation or your experience into a hydrogenated experience, a wellness travel experience, why would you use hydrogen and how would you implement that? So, we've been running hydrogen and wellness travel retreats down here in Byron for the last 7 years, and we've done a lot of it where people didn't know what hydrogen did at the time. So we experimented on our communities, on myself, on my children, on our families, and because it's made of water, it's extremely safe. And we pushed saturation levels, and we got them to levels where in 3 days we can clean the oxidative stress, recharge all the ATP energy, and flush out a lot of inflammation. And in that time, half of the symptoms of sickness will disappear. Why is this the future of wellness travel? Well, let me just tell you, if you've got a hotel and you've got a travel and you're all set up and you're turning over a couple $1 million or whatever, it can be one Airbnb bedroom, it can be 400, 1,000 hotel rooms. To bring into wellness, there has to be someone on staff who understands wellness and integrate that whole culture into your travel experience. With hydrogen, it's very simple, right? So you have a machine, which I'm going to do features on the machines and how to use them and but right now we're in the park and I just wanted to explain the concept of how would you turn a little accommodation travel into a wellness accommodation experience. And not only that, having it do it within 24 to 72 hours. So that experience is a brand new experience that people have not experienced before. And that is the opportunity with hydrogen. A lot of people haven't experienced outside Asia. And because of that, the first experiences they have of it is so prolific that it generates so much energy for them, which is what they've all been struggling to create, especially if they've had sicknesses or compromises in their health. So we take this machine, we pour water in it, and it splits to oxygen and hydrogen. So you're getting hydrogen, and I talk a lot about hydrogen. Obviously, oxygen is a part of that. You split water into H2O, into H2 and O1. And that breathed back in. Oxygen fires up our metabolism, keeps everything flowing, oxygenates all our blood, and we already know what that does. The hydrogen turns toxic free radicals into water in your system, and it can so small it can get into your cells, into the mitochondria, into the DNA, into the nucleus, and actually regenerate the cell back from oxidative stress back to optimal health. Utilizing a gas means it's instantly metabolized. Now, what does that mean? If you have the right level of saturation, that means in the first 24 hours, you can turn a lot of the toxic free radical weight, which most people have, if people are sick, you have a lot more of it. You can reduce a lot of that. That's turning it to water in your system, and obviously there's a lot of going to the toilet involved, but what you're doing is reducing that toxic free level. Now, those toxic free radicals steal electrons from the cell and actually create oxidative stress, and that's a deeper level of that damage, but it's basically like rust on your car. So if you have cells that have been not hydrated properly and not enough hydrogen to convert the toxic free radicals, and that keeps stealing electrons and they get oxidative stress, they've been compromised. From there, the top 10 killing diseases in the world start from oxidative stress. So if we uncompromise those cells and bring them back to health, a lot of the symptoms and diseases actually disappear. And we're left with a homeostasis, a body imbalance. All our cells are in balance. They're generating energy again as we sleep, as we rest. We've cleaned our gut out, we've hydrogen water, and these things allow our body to come back online and start producing its own energy. But until that time, we need to dose up the energy levels, and that's just like going to the fuel place with your car and filling up the car. You don't drive around empty, and so when you get in to integrate this therapy, you're integrating a gas, and this gas, hydrogen, has a 2-hour half-life, which means in 2 hours, half of what's in your body will come out just by outgassing. So therefore, to actually receive the real benefits of hydrogen, we learned over a long time and hundreds of people that are maintained saturation levels of gas in the body. So you fill it up, and that can take half an hour, but maintaining it. And actually, if you're in sick, you need to keep that there for 3 to 6 hours, because what you're doing there is you're keeping it at full levels, and it's actually converting those toxic free radicals into water in your system. Once it does that, and in the mitochondria where you make your energy, the ATP that's generated while you're sleeping, that place gets jammed up with toxic free radicals. Now, that could be a radical oxygen species. When you do sport, you get that lactic acid burning once your energy's run down in your cells, and that starts to generate radical oxygen species in your mitochondria, and then that's why you're tired, and then you're inflamed after doing really big workouts. Utilizing the gas after a workout cleans the mitochondria of all that toxic free radical, turns all those other toxic free radicals in the muscles into water, which reduces inflammation, because that's all inflammation is. Toxic free radicals build up. Hydrogen donates to the toxic free radical and turns it into water. So you might have a toxic free radical like a hydroxyl radical, is an oxygen and a hydrogen molecule together, and they need an electron to complete their circuit. So they're looking for another hydrogen atom, but they're actually stealing electrons from other parts of the cell, and that creates oxidative stress. The hydrogen comes through the cell barriers, whether it's in the brain, anywhere in the body, and hunts down that toxic radical, joins to it, adds H1 to H1O1, H2O, water in your cells. And the thing that's killing us in life is now turning into water. And once that's turned into water, then the hydrogen works in the mitochondria to rebuild the ATP energy levels. So suddenly, like when you go to sleep, but without sleeping, your body's being generated. Energy in the cells are being generated. Energy. Life is about energy. So from water, we can create all this energy. How does this help a wellness experience? Well, what I'm saying is, within 24 hours, 72 hours, you can create an experience that is very new to people and is so detrimental to giving them at least a U-turn towards where they need to go to heal, that they'll experience something unique and powerful in that 24 to 72 hours. How do you do that? You get a hydrogen machine and you put it in that room, and you get them to have certain amounts of it depending on who they are, how it is, and that's very simple and it's very easy. And as a hotel accommodation experience, you already got all these staff doing all this stuff. That machine there, and maintaining it's very simple, and topping it up with water, distilled water, demineralized water is really simple, and it runs on water and a little bit of electricity. So therefore, the cost of doing this is just the initial cost might be $3.5 grand, it might be $7 grand, depending on the size of the machine and what kind of experience you want to create at your place. But to start with, if you have an Airbnb room or if you have 400 rooms, you can put a little $3,500 machine in there, and that'll create enough hydrogen for people to actually experience something. But if you jump that up to triple the amount of hydrogen in the first 3 hours, they're going to feel that a lot more. So therefore you experience, if I've got people coming in for 2 or 3 days, then they can have this kind of experience, you know. And then, so that's one part. Now you're adding extra revenue for that experience, but it's not costing you. So you're not having to pay a masseuse $80 and charge an extra 20 and just make 20 or 40 on top of the massage, or 50 or 100, doesn't matter, you know. The experience is maximum profits and minimal investment. And the thing about I learned about this is, the gift of this is, people do it to themselves. It's a lifestyle change. You're working with gases, you want to integrate this into their life, but they need to know it works and they need to have an experience. And once they do, what I found was they would order the equipment, everything they need for home, water filters, whatever it was, and we'd send that to their house before they got back. And what that allowed is them to continue with their protocols of new, happy, healthy vitality, or whatever stage of healing they've began. They can continue doing that without a break and not let their old habits suddenly override those new things they've just put into place through their wellness travel experience at your place. So I think for people, they needed to understand, hydrogen in the future will be very prominent everywhere. But right now, these plug and play systems that can be implemented are really simple. So we had a place on the beach in Byron Bay, we'd charge $300 a night. If they came into the hydrogen program, they'd pay us $500 a night. The hydrogen program included them having a hydrogen bath and them having hydrogen breathing for 4 or 5 hours, and then doing all the other things they would normally do here, go to the beach, go see dogs, swim with dolphins, whatever. But all those experiences that were normal tourism experience were heightened, because inside them they had all this new energy and all this new healing, and their experience was on a heightened level. Even if they were skydivers professional and we put them on the hydrogen for the night, they'd experience skydiving different the next day. So it was amazing. And for this, we started to see the experiences we were being able to share with people were not hands-on. It was not all, we had to be all healer. We had to, I understand hydrogen, so I was able to create these experiences because I was healing myself at the same time, and I was utilizing it all the time, and I knew where the boundaries were that were safe enough for other people to use. And now we've pushed them to expand them to understand the rapidness of healing happens by the different higher levels of saturation you can maintain. And then you look, it's taking half the time, a third of the time, a fifth of the time. And in a world where someone's sick and struggles for energy, this is a miracle. But really, it's just the way our body works, and the gas, and the right gas. See, our tummy is meant to make 40 litres a day out of fish and vegetable fibres, but it's been compromised, and who has a perfect tummy anymore? Even vegans don't understand they're making 40 litres of hydrogen gas a day that's going through and turning all those toxic free radicals into water and keeping the brain neuroprotected from neurodegeneration, and all these things happen. And when you're eating meat, it's creating methane, and that methane's creating toxic free radicals, which is inflammation in the gut. So if you're going to eat meat more than 1 time a week, you're going to stack up this fermenting, breaking down this meat fiber. However, the body only is trying to break it down to get to the plant fiber that was inside the plant eating meat that we eat. That's a rhyme, all in time. So saying that we're meant to produce hydrogen in our gut, if we do, we're creating 40 litres a day in a healthy gut. To regenerate our bodies back to that level means putting the hydrogen in from the outside, breathing hydrogen water into the gut. We do bathing, misting. There's all ways to reduce oxidative stress from the skin all the way down to the cellular level, the mitochondria inside the cell. The hydrogen's so small, it gets into everything through the brain barrier, straight to the brain. This is concussion, neurodegenerative, regenerates the ATP and everything. The ATP in your brain, and what happens when you lift all your energy up and it's all cleaned out of toxic free radicals? There is no more brain fog. There is only, I see clarity through the eyes of clarity. I see clearly. Okay. So the clarity is the new drug. Clarity is the healing. Needs to be healed. There's a lot of brain fog. I'm inside myself trying to figure all this out. And the hydrogen lifts the energy and allows the body to heal itself, and that clears the brain fog. And some of that can come from the gut, but a lot of that can just come from you haven't got the clarity. Your soul can't sit in your body yet. So you clean the body cells out, and then more of your soul can sit in your body, and then you can be more present, more clear, more on your mission. Whatever your mission is, more love, more life, more things, whatever you come to bring a better vibe to the world. Once you get your vitality back, then you can commence on that mission, and your mission may be your kids. And as a parent, I've been a parent, 4 kids last 20 years, and I was in hospital at 47, 130 kilos, and in 6 months I was skateboarding at 47. And I never skateboarded before. Excuse me. So that showed me how quickly this worked and what it worked, and I wasn't doing anything else. And over the last 7 years, I've worked out how to saturate the body, keep it saturated levels, different levels for different types of things. You don't want to oversaturate someone with the brain, like Alzheimer's or too much neurodegeneration. There's too much trauma release out of the cells. The cells that are damaged hold the trauma in the emotional body. Like we have to go past our physical body. I've just explained how the physical works. I've explained how economically that's going to work for you and how simple that can be. But in the truth that we expand past our physical body and we're into the auric field, we're into the meridian grids that the Chinese masters have kept that knowledge for us, that we know there's 211 channels, I think, and all those channels, you do acupuncture and it opens up the channels and clears the channels. GCs is the blocked channel. Open the channel up and it flows again. When that flows again, the expression of the emotions that are locked in the body can be expressed, not depressed. It's pretty simple stuff. People want to be depressed. They don't want to be depressed, but people are depressed. But they're depressed because they have no one in their experience who they can express themselves to. They haven't been given the tools of expression. This is why artists are so lucky that they found the modes of art, music, writing, because the expression of the soul brings the soul to at ease, being heard, being listened to, being understood, being felt like you belong, because this is my little bit of the world and everyone has a little bit of the world put all together. We have peace on earth. This is the real outcome. How do we get peace on earth? We have to find our own inner peace, and the more of us that can do that, there's so much chaos in society. Like the same with parenting, you're so exhausted, so on demand, giving all the time, but you don't take time to go and give to yourself. So I got sick. I had to rechange the priorities and realize if I'm sick, my kids are going to end up sick. I have to get awesome. And the angels sent me hydrogen, and I was able to do stuff that I could never even imagine from that sick place that I was going to ever do again. And at the time, I couldn't run down the street with my 2 young boys that were 3 and 7 or something like that at the time. And now I've been skateboarding, jetboarding, doing this crazy stuff with them, and we're just about to do more. So welcome to my world, a hydrogenated world, a place where everyone has enough energy to do what they dream, and surrounding yourselves eventually with the people who support those dreams. That's what life's about. And those family experiences that we can create, you've got to have the energy. We don't go to holidays and then just sit down by the pool and just go, that's what our parents did. Sit by the pool, drinking cocktails, whatever. Forget about the kids. We're going to create multi-generational experiences. And that's what wellness tourism really is and can do and can be about. You have a whole family come and have hydrogen for a week and experiencing all the stuff that we take them on, from dolphins to jet boards to all sorts of stuff. And it blows people's minds to an expanded reality of, oh my God, I'm meant to feel amazing, and I'm worthy, and I'm allowed to feel amazing every single day. And to get there, you have to go through your battles. You have to go through your darkness. You have to rise up like a phoenix. That's an ode to my kids' soccer team, Suffolk Park soccer team, the Phoenixes. The season might just be the season the club is forged into the next level. Go Phoenixes. You know, and that's it, the next generation. You know, hydrogen fixes concussion. There's a video on that there. Check it out, because if you're a parent, you want to know if your kid hits his head, how do you fix that? Because I'm telling you, the doctors don't know. They don't know the answer. They're all sitting around scratching their head, looking at it, going, how do we fix this? How do we fix Parkinson's? How do we fix Alzheimer's? The truth is they can't, but hydrogen can. There's heaps of science on that. And go to the molecularhydrogeninstitute.com.org. Tyler LeBaron, legend scientist that has taken the Japanese masters of hydrogen, and he's been their apprentice, and he's brought that to the Western world, and he's actually activated so much of this for the world, and he's an amazing young scientist. And much respect, Tyler, thank you. Because when I started, Tyler was the dude telling me how it worked, you know, and I just took that and amplified the saturation levels, and you know, I fixed my calf in 1 week, 10 hours a day, breathing on the machine. And 7 days later was skateboarding, and I was 50 at the time. There's no way my 50-year-old calf should be completely blown and then be running again a week later. So there's so many ways that this can help people, and everyone who's sick needs more energy, and it needs to balance the toxic free radicals, and it needs to reduce as much oxidative stress as it can. They're the first 3 prime elements of healing. And if you can do that with one little machine in one room in 3 days to a client, you will blow their mind and change their life forever. And that's all we've been doing. And we're not doing it. We're saying to people, push the button, you do it. And then when you get home, you do it. It's your job. We just happen to know this stuff, so we're helping share it. And that's been a blessing, because you watch people's hope come back. You know, when you have someone who's sick for a long time or struggling for a long time with whatever it is, mental all the way to physical, they can't remember what they are like when they're super healthy. And they probably have never reached full vitality since they were a child. So being able to show people the right tool for them to get the energy themselves, push the button, you put water in, that's it. If that can cure or prevent up to 100 diseases, that's what it's working with in the science and all sorts of stuff, then the future's a lot brighter. If it's oxidative stress free, that eliminates 80% of the diseases we're experiencing, because we're able to keep the cells primed even through traumatic experiences, because we can then regenerate the cell and release the experience from the body and express that emotion that comes with it, and then we have empowered ourselves through life experience instead of being a victim to what happened to us. What happened to us is our soul started to evolve, come to earth, have an experience, try and bring some more light and love to this place, which is pretty fucked up. So we come to change the place so that our kids and their generations have a different paradigm of health experience, life experience, life. Not this belief like you grow up, you get traumatized, and then you start to die, and then people say, oh, I'm just going to die now. No, the energy doesn't have to go down. It can continue to stay at the vital level. You can continue to bring your light, your love. You can continue to lead for your children's sake. As a parent, if you're exhausted after 10 years of parenting, everyone's over-exhausted, sleep-deprived. It's insane that people even drive their cars in that state, but they exist like that for years to come and never return from that. So I got to return from it, and so I'm here to say, hey, this shit works. I've done it to myself, done it to my kids. We've done multiple concussions. We've done hundreds and hundreds of people, from brain tumors to lymphomas to Lyme disease to chronic fatigue. And the U-turn is incredible. Excuse me. I should have brought some water to the park. And the U-turn is incredible. It works with COVID. It works to fix vaccine damage. It works with Alzheimer's, neurology, concussions. Like crazy shit that no one can fix. And the water fixes the gut health and regenerates it. Blah, 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 blah. There's so much that it does. But if you're in wellness travel, or if you're in travel and you're going, hey, I need to actually increase how much money I'm turning over versus how much hands on it costs me to put that production in, then this is the most cost-effective way to bring the most essential experience to people's lives at your venue. I know that took a long way to get there, but I really got to see, you've got to understand the scope of how quickly it can work with the right machines, simple programs. It's really easy. We've got programs you just plug and play. It's plug and play from Airbnb to massive hotels, you know, and all we want to do is you put it at your place so more people get to experience it, so I don't have to work as hard. I want to go surfing with my kids. No, I'm just kidding. We get to do that a lot. But what we want to do is we want that $6 trillion wellness travel industry to embrace hydrogen, because after that there is hydrogen power, which makes water. There's hydrogen auto and boats and everything that make water, and there's all this other layers, even down to agriculture and fish farming, and everything can be superseded with hydrogen as opposed to without it. So for this video, thanks for hanging out. I'm trying to make them a little bit shorter. I seem to go on a little bit, but you know, it is what it is when it comes through. So have a beautiful day. Blessings to all of our East Coast Australian people coming out of that experience of Cyclone Alfred, and now we're into the full moon in Virgo. Now we're having a lunar eclipse today. So I just wanted to make this video today to make sure we're back on track and you got some more info. And I'm going to do the next video is going to be like, how do you hold the more spirit in your body by having more hydration and health and vitality, and how that affects, and how hydrogen really helped me come back to myself and amplify what my mission is on the earth, and how I connected back with myself on those spiritual levels, because I think that's, you know, beyond the physical. Life is connected. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.